Good evening once again, and welcome to the North Las Vegas City Council meeting. There are two public forums set aside for public comment, one at the beginning of the meeting and one at the end of the meeting. If you wish to speak, please complete one of the blue cards. There's a table outside the entrance there and over on the podium rail. When you fill it out and you check the item you want to speak about, hand it to our city clerk, our lovely city clerk. She's right there, and then she'll pass it up to the Mayor Pro Tem. And when I call upon you, we ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes, and we hopefully avoid any repetition. Madam City Clerk, are we in compliance with the open meeting law?
Mayor, yes.
Thank you. Tonight we have the opportunity to have an invocation given by Pastor Dean Sanner from the Discovery Church. And following the pastor, we'll have one of our very own from Neighborhood Leisure Services, Rick Damon, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor?
Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. Lord, we come to you tonight. We are grateful for our city officials, for all of our city employees, and we just ask you to bless them. And we also remember all of our law enforcement officers, and especially Officer Parquet's family. Tonight we pray for your strength and comfort and hope to be with them as they grieve through his loss. Lord, we just pray that our leaders of the city would have your wisdom as they make decisions, as they look toward the future. And Lord, as they serve all the citizens in the city of North Las Vegas, we pray that the decisions that they make would be wise, that they would be prudent, that they would be in the best interest of all here. Lord, we pray for any strife that wants to break forth, that you would bring peace, that you would bring unity, and that we would be able to move forward as a city to accomplish the goals and the agenda that the leaders have put at the outset and that you desire for us to accomplish. And we ask all this in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I sure appreciate you. This is a time set aside for the first public forum on posted agenda items. Madam City Clerk, do we have any blue cards for the first agenda item? I mean, the first public forum?
I don't have any more blue cards. I gave you several before, but I don't think they were for posted items.
You're right. You're correct. We have 2 of them for that. We're going to close public forum. Before we get started, I just want to make an announcement. I was very fortunate that Bob Brown at Opportunity Village and the young men and women that are there painted a little gavel for me. And I think that it looks a little bit better than this one to me. So I'm going to start using this wonderful gavel to always remember these young, happy little people over there at Opportunity Village. So I just wanted to put that on so Bob Brown can hear me tell him thank you. Tonight we have a pleasure of presenting a proclamation to Mr. Danny Thompson for his years of service and support of working families in Southern Nevada. We'd like to go down, and Danny, would you please come up for us? Thank you, Danny. To us on the stand, you're not an unknown, but to our community, a lot of people haven't understood what effect you've had. Hello. Yeah, I'm on. Okay. I first met Danny 17, 18 years ago when I ran for the state assembly, and I recognized that Danny was a leader of a large organization in this community of working men and women in our community. And I remember meeting. It was a good meeting, and we started as my first year as a state assemblyman here. Now, the interesting thing about Danny, he just didn't get this job not knowing the legislative process. He was, I think, maybe one of the youngest assemblymen that was ever elected in the state of Nevada. And he hailed from the Henderson area. And he became the chairman of the powerful Government Affairs Committee. And we'll read another couple of committees he was here. But even to this day, when I look out at the crowd and I see former legislators, Danny, you're probably, I have a special spot in my heart for government affairs guys. And so I appreciate you since I got to serve as chairman of that committee. So I'm going to read this, do my best. So this is a proclamation from us at the City of North Las Vegas. It is the policy and pleasure of the City of North Las Vegas to recognize special individuals such as you, Danny Thompson. And whereas Danny was born in Henderson, Nevada, and began his career at Stopper Chemical Company, joining the Steel Workers of America. And whereas Danny, at the age of 25, he was elected president of the local union 5282. In 1980, Danny was elected to the Nevada State Assembly, where he served as chairman of the Government Affairs Committee, chairman of the Natural Resources Committee, and vice chairman of the Labor and Management Committee. And whereas Danny has served as executive secretary treasurer for the Nevada AFL-CIO since elected in 1999, and was the first political director prior to being elected as chief officer. And whereas Danny has directed the organization of 125 affiliates and more than 225,000 members statewide, and has been recognized nationally for his involvement in preventing anti-labor and divisive initiatives such as paycheck deception and TABOR from becoming law. And whereas Danny has served on countless boards and commissions, has received many awards, he is also the architect of successful constitutional amendments to raise the minimum wage in Nevada and continue to be a strong voice for labor in all policy debates. And whereas it is as an outstanding citizen, we commend him for his many, many years of service and support for working families in Southern Nevada. Therefore, we, the City Council, Danny, do hereby proclaim January 18th, 2017 as Danny L. Thompson Day in North Las Vegas, and urge our cities in congratulating you for your many years. And we appreciate you. Danny has just retired recently, and this is allowing him a chance to do some other things that he's always wanted to do in his life. And so we want to encourage you to stay close to us, and if you get to the legislative session, remember us and help us, because no one has a better handle of what's happening at the legislature. We need your steady influence if you'll help. But I'd like to have you here to say something and then give you the microphone. Would that be okay? Sure. Isaac?
No, I just wanted to say thank you very much for your years of service and standing up for the little guy. I hope that someday someone actually congratulates me with those kind of same words. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I too would like to say thank you for your years of service. You've been a great friend to labor. You have a wonderful reputation throughout the community for hard work and your dedication, and you will be sorely missed. But enjoy the retirement.
Thanks.
And I, too, would like to say congratulations. It takes a special person to be a public servant, and you've demonstrated that over the years. I wish you the best in your retirement, and again, congratulations.
They said everything I was going to say. But I'm the last one. Being a 25-year letter carrier president myself, I know what it takes to be in there in the mix. So from the perspective of a worker and as a resident, I appreciate all that you did, and I miss seeing you up there at Whitney Mesa. But enjoy your vacation.
As a trusted counselor to over 5 governors, we'd like you to say something to us now. Would you mind?
Sure.
Because it's been a long career, but we'd like to have some of your time.
Sure. Thank you, John. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. I just came back from the State of the State last night, and this is my 38th year at the Nevada Legislature. So while I'm retiring from the AFL-CIO, my partner in the back, Gail Tuzlile, and I are opening our own firm, and so I don't know if I should be congratulated or somebody, have pity on me, because I'm going to go back to the session again. And so thank you all so much for that. I was born in Henderson in 1951, and in those days, when I went to high school, there was only 5 high schools in Southern Nevada, and Rancho was one of them, and we used to play football with you guys a lot, and it was a rivalry, and so you remember those days. But I really, truly should thank all of you, because I know that the city of North Las Vegas was on the edge of disaster, and you all have done what you had to do and made the hard decisions, and I know with the help of your employees, brought this city back, and you all are to be commended for that. And so keep up the good work. And I think, with the advent and the opportunity at Apex, that I think the city is going to be a bright spot in the state of Nevada in the future. So just keep up the good work, and congratulations to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Danny. And between here and Lake Mead, if you get a ticket, or they threaten you with a ticket, you tell them it's Danny Thompson Day.
Yeah.
Get out of town fast, Danny. 'Cause
Now,
you
let me
drive
tell
fast.
Now, what most people don't know is that state law, all the sheriffs in the counties in Nevada, including this county, the legislature sets their salaries. And as a former chairman of Government Affairs, the Government Affairs Committee sets the salaries for every sheriff in this state. And so for 10 years, I had a hat from every sheriff in every county. You couldn't have given me a ticket if you had to, because I always gave him a pay raise. Always.
Chief Knorr, if you're in the room, just guide him out of
I'm gonna
town.
be a sheriff. I'm gonna be a sheriff.
Thank you so much, brother. Bye-bye.
Wait, Dale, picture.
Oh, yes. Gail, come in Gail, come in a little bit after one picture. I know you guys are. Let's get one with Danny. Oh, you want to come in? I was going to get one with Danny and then with the team. Okay. Gail, it's your turn now. Come on, Gail. Thank you very much, Council. Moving on to the agenda.
Item 1, approve City Council regular meeting agenda of January 18, 2017 for possible action.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The agenda is ready for your approval.
Thank you very much. Can I get a motion to accept the approval of the agenda as published?
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote. Items approved. Moving on to set future public hearing dates.
Item 2, set date on any appeals filed or required public hearings from the City Planning Commission meetings.
Madam City Clerk, I so direct you to set any dates as necessary.
Mayor, thank you, as noted.
Moving on to public hearings.
Item 3, approve SNC 0316 Northgate Building 3 for applicant Tracy Hammer for a street name change in an M2 General Industrial District to rename a portion of Marion Drive to Puebla Street, extending south of Tropical Parkway to the Interstate 15 right-of-way for possible action.
Thank you. I'll open this up to public comment. Would anybody like to come up and talk on this issue? Seeing none, we'll close public comment. The chair will take a motion to approve or fail, whatever you want.
Move to approve.
Please cast your vote. Items approved. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Matters listed on the consent agenda are considered routine and may be approved by a single motion. However, any consent item may be moved to the business portion of the agenda for discussion at the request of any council member.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. Madam City Manager.
Consent agenda consists of item number 4 through 7?
9.
Through 9. The recommendation is for approval.
Thank you. I'll take a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Item is approved. Moving on to the business section of our agenda.
Item 10, appoint Michaela Rucia Moore as city attorney effective January 9, 2017, and approve employment agreement for possible action.
Thank you. I think 4 weeks ago, we came up with the most wonderful person that we could find to be our city attorney. We've been very happy with you. And so at this time, we'd like to call for a motion to appoint Michaela Rusta Moore as a city attorney effective January 9, 2017, and approve an employment agreement. Chair will take a motion.
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Welcome aboard. Number 11.
Item 11, presentation by Sedona Ranch Investment Partners, LLC, regarding the acquisition, annexation, and development of RC Farms.
I see we have a presentation today. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. My name is Key Reed with the Reed Firm, 333 Serene Avenue in Henderson, Nevada. It's humbling to be in front of you guys, and it's also nice to be able to tell. We're going to give a brief presentation on Sedona Ranch, but it's nice to be able to tell a old North Las Vegas story finally. As a young lawyer, the city of North Las Vegas was my first client in private practice with Senator Bryan, and to see how far the city's come with the expansion of the BLM disposal boundaries and the 7,500 acres coming in, and then also to look back at this situation here with the pig farm, which was an issue that we were aware of all the way back then when we were doing work on behalf of the city. It's really nice to be here, and it's a memory that good things take time and hard work, and so this is a really exciting time to be in front of you. Tonight we're here to give you a brief presentation on behalf of Sedona Ranch Investment Partners. They've purchased the land commonly known as RC Farms, or the pig farm. It's 160 acres. It's been operated as a pig farm for roughly the past 60 years. I'm going to move to the next slide. As you all know, the farm was there first, and they've done a great job in their recycling efforts and providing a great service to the resort corridor by recycling the waste, and it's really fantastic what they've done there. But as residential development has grown and the city's grown, it's the uses out there are not compatible with the residential development adjacent to the farm. And so Sedona Ranch Investment Partners has come in and purchased roughly 160 acres to be developed there, and they plan to have a cohesive development with both residential and commercial uses. And most importantly, for us here and for the residents of North Las Vegas, there's a lot of remediation there and a lot of work to do, but over time they plan to remove the odor, which will have huge impacts to the city. So tonight I'm going to just introduce the project. Chris Armstrong from Sedona Ranch Investment Partners is going to give a brief overview on the subject property, and after that Brian Gordon from Applied Analysis will talk about some of the economic impacts from the site, which are really amazing, and then I'll close the presentation after that. Chris?
Hi, good evening. Chris Armstrong with Sedona Ranch. Appreciate the opportunity. Thanks, Key, for the introduction, and it's a pleasure being in front of the North Las Vegas City Council this evening, so thanks very much for the opportunity. I think everybody knows, obviously, where the project is located, who's here in the city, either geographically, we're located, or where, unfortunately, where the smell comes from, so it's easy to be able to locate the site. But as you can see on the overhead presentation, it truly is an infill parcel. The city has developed around the parcel. It's got great access to both 215 and I-15. So we're very excited about being a part of it, being a part of the city of North Las Vegas, and introducing the project. sort of jumping in a little bit closer just to take a look at the property itself, and you get a better idea of where it's located. You know, and from this you can really see how much of an infill parcel it is. You've got properties surrounding it essentially on all sides with you know, a number of different types of uses. And what we're looking at doing is developing the property with respect to those existing uses and the existing densities that are around there, and proposing uses and densities that are similar to what's there. Also, you know, one of the things that's obviously very important for us, and we think for the city as well, is we'll be coming in next week with an application for an annexation. That's very important for us to be a part of the city, and we're excited about that. And we'll be we've already done some preliminary work with your staff, and look forward to submitting the formal application next week. So we're quite excited about that. As you can see from the property, and as Key indicated, the parcel is approximately 160 acres. And you can see that the core portion of the farm itself occupies about 40 acres, and in that 40 acres there's a lot of stuff, right? So there's a long history, about 60 years of stuff that's on that property, and we're being very strategic and thoughtful as we go through the property and examine the property on studies to ensure, you know, what's included on the property, and we're going to take some time to figure out exactly what that strategy is on the remediation. But it's going to be a lengthy process. It's obviously very expensive. There's a lot of stuff there from a long period of time. So we'll advise you of that process as we go forward and as we get a better understanding of it. But we've done, you know, a lot of preliminary examination, and we look forward to coming back and explaining that process to you over time. One of the things too, as we go through the process and the entitlement process as we move forward, the pig farm, for those who have driven past recently, we've done some considerable efforts to remove a lot of the material that's on it from the actual equipment type material. So we're doing that. The pig farm itself is winding down operations, and you know, by the time we get completed with our entitlement process, then, you know, those operations should be completely ceased. So that's the goal. As far as the land uses, and as I indicated earlier, there's a great mix of housing stock that's available there right now, and we plan on introducing product that's similar. The land use designation, I believe, is a mixed-use neighborhood designation, which we will conform with. North Fifth is a great corridor that may allow some more intense uses, but obviously respectful to what's in the surrounding area. So we're excited about the project, and as I say, we'll be in next week with the annexation application and be moving forward. And at this time, I'd like to introduce Brian Gordon, who was introduced earlier on, to give you an overview of the economic and fiscal impacts of the project.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. Brian Gordon. I'm with a firm called Applied Analysis. We're a Nevada-based economic research and analysis firm. The folks at Sedona Ranch Investment Partners retained us to take a look at some of the economic and fiscal impacts associated with their acquisition of the property and what their future plans are for the site itself. So I want to walk you through some of the highlights. We've gone through a much more detailed process in terms of the analytics that we've worked on in an effort to keep the presentation brief. I've got a handful of slides here that I think help summarize some of what we did and give you a sense of what the project itself means. So in terms of broad sort of summary, what we're looking at, you've heard about the pig farm and the odor, and I don't need to go into a whole lot of detail there. I'll walk you through a couple of numbers in terms of what that impact potentially looks like. The other thing I wanted to mention, number 2, really focuses on the property tax side of things. So Mr. Armstrong was talking about the annexation from Clark County into the city of North Las Vegas. Clearly, that's a game changer in terms of what that means from a property tax standpoint. The city of North Las Vegas would be a beneficiary of property taxes in that regard. And at the same time, the tax status would change from an agricultural use to a non-agricultural use that would have a significant jump in terms of the overall property taxes that would be generated on the site. In terms of the impact of the elimination of the odor at the current site, there's a lot of numbers on this particular slide. Ranges from 0 to 2 miles in terms of the area being potentially impacted from the odor, as well as what property values might experience in terms of an upswing when we talk about what the impact of the removal of the odor might mean. Some of the properties themselves have have easements and restrictions on them related to the odor of the pig farm itself. Others just simply wouldn't have to have that odor in the area and potentially have a positive impact on the value. So as an example on this particular chart to the far right, within 2 miles of the current site, you can see what the impact may be if there were a 1% increase in property values. That could generate up to $48 million worth of increased property values for those homeowners. The team at Sedona Ranch Investment Partners has conducted some preliminary research with real estate professionals that have suggested the impacts could range from 4 to 6%, and that work is ongoing. We're also working with your staff to fine-tune which properties are potentially impacted. But again, the further you go down that schedule on the far right, you can see what the impacts would be to those homeowners, generating a significant amount of potential wealth as it relates to property values overall. A couple of, and just as a graphical element, you can see what that range is. So the subject site here is in the center of the diagram where 1 mile reaches and where 2 mile reaches, so you can get a sense of the scope of what area we'd be talking about. A couple of other key elements that we focused on as part of our analysis are the economic and the fiscal impacts of the project. So we went ahead and took a look at the development programming that potentially could be on that site in terms of more traditional housing options, as well as some neighborhood commercial offerings and what that might look like in terms of the economics to the community. And then we also looked at the fiscal impacts, what the public revenue impacts of that development activity might look like. So from an economic standpoint, we look at a couple of different things. So during the construction phase, the build out of the project itself, the direct impacts, you have construction workers being employed on site, building homes and those types of traditional developments in the area. You have the indirect impacts, those would be vendor purchases, suppliers, building materials, those types of things. And then you also have the induced impact. So if a construction worker goes to the grocery store, they're spending money in the economy. So you sort of have this ripple effect if you think about it for some of these charts. So big picture numbers, economic output, the total economic activity of the development when built out totals over $460 million. In terms of salaries and wages, you're looking at almost $160 million of personal income for local workers. And then in terms of employment, you're looking at almost 3,200 jobs, person years of employment over the course of that build out. So pretty significant economic contributions to the local economy. From a fiscal standpoint, we looked at a couple of the big ticket items in terms of public revenues that would be generated as part of the project. I think the biggest one to focus on is the first one, which is property taxes. So not only would you see the property taxes increase and also come into the city of North Las Vegas, this becomes a recurring revenue stream. So once the project's built out, you have these annual recurring impacts that generate positive, public revenue overall. So that's a total of about $2.3 million each year. And when you look at the breakdown of the property tax rate, you'd have about $850,000 inuring to the benefit of the city of North Las Vegas each year following the build out of the project. A couple of other just key areas that we looked at was the modified business tax or the payroll tax that generally inures to the general fund at the state level, but again, pretty significant during the construction phase, about $1.2 million per year. Sales and use taxes on all those building materials that come into the project translates into about $4.6 million of retail sales and use taxes, so pretty significant. Your share of that could be a couple $100,000 to the city of North Las Vegas. And again, this benefits the state, the county, clearly the city of North Las Vegas, education and other areas within southern Nevada, so a significant amount of public revenues related to the project. Those are the highlights of the work we've done in terms of economic and fiscal impacts. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have related to that, or I'll turn it back to the team to wrap things up.
Thank you. Could we take one more part of your presentation? Guy, would you come up for a second? I would just like to recognize you as our newest business partner, City of North Las Vegas. It's my prerogative, I can call you up.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm honored to be here. Thank you very much.
But one thing I want to tell you, as I was running to be mayor, one of my pledges was to increase the property values of the City of North Las Vegas. They had just plummeted. And my goal was to see that if I could raise property taxes up, then appreciation of homes up, then that would allow more people to have more money for retirement, because equity in your home is the number 2 form of savings for retirement in this country. And we had lost so much equity in our homes in North Las Vegas. So today, thousands of homeowners have already, because of this council's work, stabilized, and now their property values are going up. In that area, when it was announced that you had personally come in by yourself and bought the pig farm, that put another bump in everybody's mind that my property values are going up. And now today, by building these homes, and what you're going to be accomplishing is emblematic of where North Las Vegas is going. We're going up. And I just want to thank you for helping us. I know the smell ordinance, Mr. Reed will be removing that. I know the annexation will be big for our community. I know what happens on North 5th, the commercial corridor that you'll build there will offer a lot of amenities to people in the area. You're transforming probably the top third of our community now. It's on this side of the 215. And I just, I know you might see it as an investment, and I know you see it as something that I've seen your other developments. You do a beautiful job, but you're making a big change in what people think about North Las Vegas. And I wanted to thank you personally for coming, meeting me, believing in us, understanding that we would help you get through the process, and allowing us to become your partner. Now, the last thing I'll say is, I know you're a good man, because Bob Combs and his wife Janet have told me. I've been out to their house before. They've loved negotiating with you. They feel like they found the right person to hand their land to, so that they can still live on the land and be a part of our community. And I want to thank you for carving out that 4 acres so they can still be our neighbors. And I just personally, from the bottom of my heart, say this is probably one of the biggest things that people will remember that North Las Vegas used to have.
Yes.
We had a speedway years ago, and we had a pig farm years ago, and they're not here. And I'd just like to give you a moment, and then we'll have the council add some comment.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Lee. Thank you, Council. Hello to some of my old friends that I haven't seen in a long time. We have quite a long history, actually, in the city of North Las Vegas. I used to go back years ago and somewhat lobby on behalf of the city, just because I had some, a number of friends back in D.C., some of the elected officials, and so we have a long and pretty good history with the city of North Las Vegas. Years ago, when we first started looking at North Las Vegas, and we started looking at 7,500 acres, and we ended up buying, at the time, Park Highlands. There was always a stigma attached to North Las Vegas because of the pig farm, and we've all known about it for years. And it's all, and I think one of the important things that's happening here, I mean, I know we're coming up here and we're gonna do the best job we can do to put in the most quality development that we can do up here. But one of the things one of the things that I've always thought was the stigma that was attached to the city because of this. The city has grown unbelievably, and really, with the great work that you've all done over the last number of years, it's back on its feet again. I mean, it went meteoric, and then we really struggled here, and now because of the great work, the city is back on its feet again. And this is sort of that last thing to work on, to get rid of that, the stigma that's been attached to the city because of this, and so we're proud to be a part of it. I mean, we've got a ways to go. We've talked about our remediation and that, and it's going to be a little bit of a process. We're still trying to figure out exactly what we're going to do with the property. I mean, we're planning it, and we're going to come back and we're going to work with the city, and we've already been working with you. And thank you, Mayor, for taking the time and sitting in on some of the meetings with us. We really appreciate that. And, but we have a ways to go, but we're excited. I mean, this is our opportunity to get back in the city and hopefully do some really good things that we can all be proud of.
Well, thank you. If you'll stay 1 minute. Usually we don't bring the developer up here, but Keith, you'd like to come up. Anybody in the council would like to discuss? This is a presentation only, no vote, but Ms. Wood?
Well, hi, Guy. It has been a while. As you said, we were very, very excited way back when about Olympia Group and you and all of your guys coming in and developing our new master plan community, and the economy kind of bit us all in the butt, and things did not work out the way we had planned, but I'm very excited to know that you're still going to get to do something in North Las Vegas, and I think it's a project that we'll all be very proud of. And so it'll be nice to get to work with you after all, and we're very, very excited. It's been a difficult situation, the pig farm in North Las Vegas. You had a great business. You had a great man who came to, and I can say from all the meetings that I was in way back when, there was not a planning commission meeting, there was not a city council meeting when those homes nearby were being contemplated, that Mr. Combs was not in the audience and getting up and speaking and reminding the council and the commission at that time that, hey, I'm here and this is a pig farm and it smells like a pig farm. And he was really protecting his rights and protecting his business. And so you had to have the utmost respect for him, for sticking to his guns and for coming to every meeting and giving up his time and trying to protect the residents to the best that he was able. But you had a lot of people that came in, and they came in from New Jersey and California, and they came in December, and they went out and looked at homes, and as they walked the property, they didn't smell anything. It smelled great, no problem. So they bought the home. And a few months later, all of a sudden, June, July, and August hit, and there was the smell. And it came in force. And all of a sudden now those same residents were calling up the city as unhappy as could be, and there was just so little. It was a county island. There was really so little the city could do to help them. But to know now that that property is going to be mitigated, that the odoriferous clauses can go away, and that we'll see a nice, great project that will bring so much to North Las Vegas, certainly makes me proud and excited and happy. And so thank you for this, and thank you for working with us.
Councilman Barone.
Well, actually, I know Mr. Combs doesn't remember me because I was a little tiny kid. But actually, my dad knew him and worked with him actually a long time ago. I actually called him Roberto, right? And I still remember fondly going to out there to the pig farm. And well, you know, when you're a little kid, everything's cool, especially seeing these hogs, right? And so I have to admit, every once in a while where I live, and it's still a few miles away, you'll get a whiff every once in a while. And then I have to admit I was, quite frankly, happy I didn't live closer. But I have to say that at the same time, Mr. Robert Combs is an American original. The guy's a treasure. He, as the sign says outside, he was green before it was fashionable, right? Taking the waste and turning something great out of it, you know. Just a great American entrepreneur. I like to say, Mayor, that I think if we get a chance to suggest some names for upcoming schools to be built, elementary schools, I'd like to say right here, I'd be very much in favor of seeing a Robert Combs Elementary in the future, home of the hogs.
What a great idea.
And I say that with all, you know, not trying to be, you know, facetious, but in all seriousness. And I was never more proud than to see Mr. Combs on one of the very best editions of that show, Dirty Jobs. I was really proud. At the same time, I have to say that I'm sure all the neighbors around are looking forward, you know, to the change that's coming. And please convey this small kid's congratulations and gratitude to Mr. Combs next time you see him. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
Hi there. As anything historical in this city, it doesn't last for long. And even though this is a great thing, it's kind of bittersweet and as well, because it's been there for 60 years, and there's a lot of history there and a lot of educational purposes there as well. And the ironic thing is, having actually been on the pig farm in the home that's there, I did not smell a thing. The funny thing, leaving and coming is like, oh my goodness. But when you got there, it was like, wow, this is really, really kind of cool. And they also roasted a pig, which I could not partake of because I was on a pig farm. So I was just like, I can't watch the pigs and eat them at the same time. So I'm just kind of looking forward to the new adventures and the new area that's going to be developed there sooner than later. So thank you very much for the work that you're doing. Appreciate it.
Councilman?
A personal thank you from me. I happen to represent that area over there, and I get some regular, very lively conversations with the local residents. But Mr. Combs, as was said, is a very nice gentleman, and his wife as well, and personally appreciate the fact of you allotting an area for him to stay over there. And he's always been very upfront, and yes, he was here first, and rightfully so. The flip side of it is, coming from back east myself, I'm going to kind of miss that smell. South Brooklyn kind of would bring a tear to my eyes every once in a while when the wind blows toward my house. But we do appreciate, honestly, your coming in there and taking on the job of remediating that property and just adding to our community in a very positive manner. Thank you.
Mayor, if I could.
Yes, you might.
I was out with Mr. and Mrs. Combs today. I stopped over there and spent about an hour. You can't get out of there in probably less than that. And, they've done amazing things out there. They were telling me, I mean, as they have in the past, that they've been all over the world. I mean, BBC was out here. There's so many different publications have talked about them, but they're ready, and that's something that we were talking about today. That, you know, there's only a few animals, a few pigs left out there, a lot of chickens and things, but they're winding it down, and they're ready, and they feel that they've accomplished what they've wanted to accomplish. So, though there is great history out there, and it is a little bit bittersweet on where we're going next. I think that they feel good about it, and so I think that's good for it, because I know y'all know them, and they are wonderful people. Like, they are as wonderful as there is out there, and so I think it's important for y'all to know that if you sit and talk to them, they're going to tell you that the timing is right for them.
Thank you. Mr. Reed, so we'll see you back in a week with the annexation papers, is that what I heard?
Absolutely.
And then the ordinance, the smell ordinance, can you give us an update on have you figured out how that's going to work with all those residents around there?
It's a complicated process that we're working together, and also with city staff on, because there's not, all the subject property adjacent to our property was not developed at the same time, so there will be a process that we need to work through. But we are working as diligently as we can to have a solution that works as soon as possible.
And the reason I ask is people will come to us now and ask us that question. I just want to make sure we all understood how to answer that question for us.
We're working as hard as we can and as fast as we can.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. There's no vote on this, but I do have an opportunity for public comment. Was there anybody who would like to speak publicly on this issue right now? Seeing no one, I will close the public comment, and thank you, gentlemen, very much. Appreciate you.
Item 12, receive annual audit report for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2016, and approval of management's corrective action plan in response to schedule of findings and question costs for
Thank
possible
you,
action.
Mr. Piercy. Director Ada, are you coming up, or is just Mr. Piercy? It doesn't matter. Okay.
Hi. Ralph Piercy. I'm the engagement principal on your audit of your comprehensive financial report. And I know you've already received all this stuff, and it's all been filed on time, but I just wanted to take a minute and express my appreciation for the opportunity that my firm has to be of service. I can't tell you how seriously we take our responsibility to the citizens of North Las Vegas. I know a lot of auditing firms, in fact most auditing firms, their principal shows up for the first 1 or 2 days and shows up at the end when the job's wrapping up, and I can tell you, except for 1 or 2 days, I was here working on your job every day. And like I said, we take our responsibility to citizens of North Las Vegas very seriously. And I really don't have any prepared remarks, but if there's any questions, I'm prepared to answer them.
Thank you. Any comments or questions on this? I do have one. Okay. I think that I would be proud to tell everyone that Ralph was my basketball coach when I was at the boys club in the 6th grade, and he played for UNLV on the basketball team. He was on the freshman class there, and a great athlete, and we've continued this relationship for 45, 50 years now, Ralph, and you've always been just a wonderful human being, and to see you on the job, when the man's name is Piercy Bowler Taylor Kearns, and the Piercy guy's sitting in our office with Darren going over stuff, it shows me how much you care about our community, and with all the big accounts you have, it shows me how much you care about Darren and I, and we appreciate you personally for handling our account.
Thank you. Since you opened the door, I might have a basketball.
Now, don't
story.
tell them what my average was.
I won't tell them the average, but one of my years at UNLV, the last couple of weeks of school, I found myself homeless for a series of really freak circumstances, and I ended up sleeping on the couch at the North Las Vegas Boys and Girls Club over in Cary for 2 weeks. And at the North Las Vegas Boys and Girls Club, I had been volunteering as basketball coaches, as the mayor said, and I can tell you we played basketball into the wee hours of the morning on more than one occasion. And one of the kids that I remember specifically, didn't play any defense and probably wasn't the best shooter, but people tell me he's turned out to be a pretty good mayor. So I just
let me just for the record. So we would go home. We would go home so late some nights from basketball practice that I would get picked up by the police and they would drive me home because they wanted me to go home and be safe about it. So
very true story.
we were there late. Thank you very much for your professionalism, though. Council
Mayor?
Chair will take. Oh yes, ma'am.
May I ask Darren a question, please?
Yes, Councilwoman.
So, Darren, looking at the findings here, really they're primarily staffing issues and finance. So do we have some kind of correction plan in place?
Councilwoman, finance is obviously the accumulation of data that's prepared throughout the entire city. So what you see there, although it's reflective in the audit, which is handled by the finance department, it reflects a staffing shortfall throughout the organization, which is not new to us. It's part of our recovery strategy. It involves a lot of, going back and looking at the responsibilities that we have and trying to prioritize those. But in that process, what's happening is that is flowing up and is presenting some challenges to our reporting and the timing of our reporting, and particularly getting reconciliations done on a timely fashion and being proactive with the management. So it is our goal. There are a couple of recommendations in there with respect to staffing. We've counseled with our city manager on those things, and we have a strategy to increase our staffing in the finance department, and hopefully in the coming budget and coming year we'll also be able to open the door to additional staffing for the city.
Thank you.
May I have just
Mr. Piercy.
one comment to that?
Of course.
There are some, there are straightforward comments about some staffing things that need to be accomplished in there, but I want you to know that I saw every day that you have some very dedicated people that are talented, that get a lot done with limited resources, and they should be actually complimented in all that they get done. And it's heartwarming actually to see how hard some of those people work.
Believe me, we're well aware that they're hardworking with little resources and even littler fanfare. But I thank you for your kind words, and hopefully they got to hear them tonight too.
And
Thank
Council,
you.
I would want you to know that Ralph is absolutely correct. He was there late hours and on weekends working with our team, Debbie and Rhonda and Linda and the rest of the accounting staff. They've grown very close, chuckling those late hours and joking about things and working very hard. And we are I'm personally very much appreciative to what Ralph has done and the personal interest he's taken in our account. We have had over the years, obviously this relationship was developed with the city for probably 15, 20 years, that the Piercy Bowler has provided both a professional service and a value to the city. Prior to that, we've had Richard Bowler and Jim Andrus, and a few others who have all come in and contributed to that. But personally, I have absolutely recognized the personal investment from Mr. Piercy in this effort and trying to make sure that we as a team hit the deliverable that was important to you as a council, and that was getting financial statements out on a timely basis. And he's taken that personally on his plate to make sure that we were doing that and pushing us along. And so I appreciate that. It wasn't always nice to feel him pushing on the back of our shoulder, but we're grateful for it now that we're done. Thank you.
And I know that Marvin Levitt, the LG Local Government Oversight Committee, has a lot of faith in your reports, and we thank you. Before we vote, because I think this probably is going to look good, but could Debbie's over here. Debbie's over here. Could we give the financial team just a little bit of a clap for doing this for us? How many years have you been a quality, or what's that, 18 years, Darren? Or how many years have you guys got that award?
30 plus, Mayor.
We've never missed a quality, what is that title?
On both the budgeting and the financial reporting, we received excellence and outstanding recognition by the GFOA for the quality of product that we put together, the extent of the disclosures, the timeliness of filing, and so forth. And we work hand in hand with our auditors to meet those requirements every year. Absolutely.
This is how hard that Ralph works. And this is totally not like me. But one morning on the weekend, I think it was on the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I got here at 4 a.m. and he got here at 6 a.m. That's how hard that he works too, and that's how dedicated he is.
Thank you very much.
That's just sick. We're going to get him into a psychiatric treatment afterwards, so don't worry about it.
We're going to vote this down, Ralph. I'm glad you wanted to hear that first. But anyway, so the chair will take a motion.
Move to approve.
You have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved. Once again, thank you, Mr. Piercy. Number 13.
Item 13, presentation by real property and housing staff regarding approval of home investment partnerships program and low-income housing trust fund application process for affordable housing development projects for possible action.
Mr.
Good
Palmer.
evening, Mayor and Councilman. How are you tonight? Thank you for having us up today. We're going to give you a presentation on how we internally handle and administer our home and LIFT funds. Home and LIFT funds are our federal dollars that we receive to put out into the community for low-income housing efforts. But with us tonight, part of Lorena's team is Rick Damien. It's going to give us a PowerPoint presentation, and then we'll be open for questions thereafter. But this is how we administer individuals in the community asking the city for our share of the federal home and LIFT dollars.
Thank you, Cass. Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm Rick Damien, Community Services Analyst for Real Property and Housing Services. I'd like to present to you the proposed new home investment partnerships program and low-income housing trust fund application process for your acceptance. The City of North Las Vegas receives an allocation of funds that administers the home program and the LIFT program. Both are federal and state programs. Now, these are geared to provide decent, safe, affordable housing in North Las Vegas. Now, through this, we can achieve this through home ownership, rehabilitation. Yeah, okay. Through thank you. Yes. Through new construction, home ownership, and rehabilitation, as well as rental. Now, the home program dollars are provided by the Department of HUD, Housing and Urban Development, and the state dollars, the Nevada State Housing Division, they provide the LIFT dollars. Now, we receive these funds by way of a consortium agreement with the county, who acts as a conduit for the city's federal and state funds. Now, the allocation that we received is less than $1 million. Now, this amount varies annually because of HUD's formula and how they dole out the dollars to the states. But we also receive, though we receive these funds regularly, they're not what we would call a guaranteed funding stream. In 2009, we didn't receive any because of the economy, but we have since. Now, because we administer these programs, they're reliant on the funding of these of the funds through HUD and the availability of those funds. Now, the old process, historically, we really never had a formal process to allocate the home dollars to development projects. At the time, the process was more about setting aside dollars for existing programs like the rehab programs or the down payment assistance. And when they would come in, the request for funding would come in, we'd handle them on a case-by-case or a first-come, first-served basis. Now, they were infrequent and sporadic, which created kind of I don't know, it was without knowing it, you couldn't plan for that type of thing. And so because of that, there were a lot of drawbacks from accepting these requests. Since we had no funding or no funding notification process to the public to let everyone know that we had funding, we limited or sometimes excluded some of the projects that were out there that either that were known or unknown. And so it was important for us to create this process. Now since these requests for fundings were sporadic, it affected our day-to-day because we couldn't rely on the consistency of when these would come in, and so we would take the time to review them. And also, transparency was a big thing because we couldn't ensure transparency because these applications were reviewed by 1 or 2 staffers, and so it was maintained within those individuals, which not the best practice. So, on to the next one. So the ongoing need to provide affordable housing in North Las Vegas has created a high demand for these funds, both state and federal. Now, developers and nonprofit agencies know we have dollars, but there was never really a process for them to approach us and ask. And we really didn't have a model for them to submit to us what we needed to ensure proper vetting. Now, in order for us to keep up with the demand of these requests, we had to create a systematic application process. We did so by establishing this process before you, and what it is it's a systematic application process to create a regular application cycle on an annual basis. It also, it's more accessible. It's a web-based program for everyone to be able to submit fairly, I guess, give everyone a fair shake. The other positive is that we're using a third-party review process. This takes the onus off staffers and puts it back, 1, on a third party, and 2, on the project itself. So the best project will be introduced to the city of North Las Vegas, we feel. However, due to the timing of implementing this new process and to readily spend the money, we're using a internal staff of city professionals from public works, from planning, from business development, and real property and housing services. But going forward to the next application round, which will be this coming November 2017, we hope to have a third-party consultant and relieve the staff of that responsibility so that we can have them provide that analysis and that review for recommendations to us and then ultimately to City Council. Now, the new proposed process has its benefits. The benefit would be a regular application cycle on an annual basis. The benefit of a standardized electronic application intake process through Zoom grants, the very same program software that we use for our own CDBG program. The benefit of a more thorough review of projects using third-party reviewers, which would improve the vetting process, ensure true project eligibility, and is an efficient use of staff time. It promotes transparency through the third-party review model and electronic application intake process. And the new application process is consistent with the city of Henderson, the city of Las Vegas, and Clark County. So if accepted by City Council, the new process will take effect January 22nd. Key dates for this new process for the application round would be, again, on January 22nd, we'll put out a public notification of funding availability to the public for awareness. On January 26th, the application will be made available to the public. On March 2nd, the application deadline will be due. So it gives them 5 weeks, thereabouts. On a day, on March 6th through 9th, we'll have the review and award process. And then, of course, we'll circle back on April 5th for a public hearing and council approval. That's all I have. Thank you for the opportunity to present the new home lift application process. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to take them.
Cass, that's your presentation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Council, any comments or questions
Yes.
towards staff? Just go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I think I've been pretty vocal that I have not necessarily been happy with some of the quality of the projects that we've seen applying for these funds in the past. So I'm really excited. I mean, first come, first served is great for McDonald's, but I don't know that it is the best way for choosing the best projects for North Las Vegas. So I think that bringing in this third party, I think and I'm getting the impression that it is going to set some minimum values for the level of the projects that we're looking for, so that we get top-notch. I think putting in a little competition also does not hurt to make sure that we are going to get the better quality projects. So personally, I thank you for putting this together, and I think it's a great idea, and hopefully we'll see some positive outcomes from it.
Thank you. Anyone else? At this time, the chair will ask for a motion to accept the home program and the application process.
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 14, approve professional engineering service agreement with Carollo Engineers, Inc. to provide professional engineering design services for the West Cheyenne Well Rehabilitation Project, CIP project number W0046, in the amount of $277,030 from the Utility Enterprise Fund for possible action.
Thank you. Any comments or questions? Chair will take a motion.
Move to approve.
You have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Item 15, award bid number 1506 and approve contract with Las Vegas Paving Corporation in a total amount of $695,000, $150,000 from the Tax Override Street Fund, and $575,000 from the Motor Vehicle Fuel Tax Fund 293 for the Major Street Rehabilitation FY 1516, CIP project number 10280-16, located along various roadways in North Las Vegas for possible action.
Thank you. Councilor, any comments or questions this item? If not, the chair will take a motion.
Move to approve.
We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved. Moving on to ordinances, introduction only.
There is no public comment for these items, and no action will be taken by the council at this meeting. If you wish to speak on any of these items, please attend the meeting where the final action will be determined and submit a blue card to the clerk. Item 16, introduce ordinance number 2787, amending Chapter 8.50 of the North Las Vegas Municipal Code, Storm Water Regulations, previously adopted under ordinance number 2477, to elevate the administration responsibility of said chapter to the city manager, add applicable definitions, update discharge exceptions to match Nevada Division of Environmental Protection, NDEP, and National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System, NPDES, permit language, and provide for other matters properly related thereto. Set final action for February 1st, 2017.
Thank you. Moving on to ordinances, final action.
Number 17, pass and adopt ordinance number 2782, amending Title 17 of the Municipal Code of the City of North Las Vegas, relating to zoning, ZOA-04-16, by amending Title 17, Section 17.24090D3A, by modifying the allowable exterior materials within the Ranch Estates Rural Preservation Overlay District, and providing for other matters properly related thereto for possible action.
Thank you. Councilor, any comments or questions this item? Now we'll take a motion to pass ordinance number 2782.
Move to approve.
You have a motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved.
Item 18, pass and adopt ordinance number 2791, amending Section 010 of Chapter 16 of Title 17 of the City of North Las Vegas Municipal Code by reclassifying approximately 44.23 acres therein from a PCD, Planned Community District, to an RCL PCD, Medium Density Residential Planned Community District, ZN 17-16, Villages at Tule Springs, Village 3, for property generally located at the northeast corner of Clayton Street and Durrell Lane, and providing for other matters properly related thereto for possible action.
Thank you, Councilor. Any comments or questions this item? If not, the chair will make a motion to pass and adopt ordinance 2791.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept ordinance 2791.
Thank you. We have a motion. Please cast your vote. Item is approved. Moving on to appointments.
Item 19, appoint an at-large citizen member to the Planning Commission to fill an unexpired term ending June 30, 2020 for possible action. Mayor and Council, we have 3 names. Those were provided in alphabetical order. Those are Joe Cato, Travis Roundy, and Gay Schoaf.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we appoint an at-large member to the Planning Commission, Mr. Travis Roundy. I looked at all the people that have been serving on boards, and one of my goals here is to see that we take people and put them through a system, and that we move them along to different things. Mr. Roundy has been 2 years, I think, as chairman of the utilities, and so I've talked to him, but not understanding if he was as prepared as I'd want him to be. I had him meet with Mr. Nelson Stone to interview him for me, to see if he would be somebody that could work with the commission, pardon me. He called me back and said, unequivocally, this guy is going to be great. We're looking to build leaders within this city. I know there's other people that have other positions that I was just notified tonight that I had never heard about before. And we will continue to help those people move up the system. At this point, the chair would like to make a motion that we appoint Mr. Travis Roundy to the Planning Commission to fill the uninspired term of Nelson Stone. That's my motion.
Point of order. I thought we were supposed to, by ordinance, take these names alphabetically. Was that not correct?
And so the actual city code does state that they would be listed alphabetically. And so Joe Cato, last name Cato, was listed first, and then Roundy and Shove.
Oh, but we don't necessarily have to vote on them alphabetically.
Well,
because in the past, that's how we've done it. So I'm just curious
So-
about the change.
So they've been read into the record, and that'll be my motion then.
Okay.
So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to elect Mr. Travis Roundy to the Planning Commission to fill the unexpired seat of Mr. Nelson Stone. That's my motion. Please cast your vote. Items approved. Moving on to City Manager's report.
Mayor and council have no additional items to report tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. We have something to talk about. We had a very sad experience this week, and I know that the whole city council actually went to this event. I think I'll make just a brief statement and let you guys pour your little hearts out. The death of this fine man prompted a lot of introspect within our city, and Mr. Yarder, the president of the POA, did a yeoman's work working with, I want to say, Captain Orr and Chief Knorr and Chief Perez, to doing what it took to set this man's life in order. We went to each of these gentlemen and myself went to the hospital, and we spent time there. And then upon his expiration, they jumped into service for this family and for this gentleman. I know that if you would recognize that John Runix and Assistant City Manager Ryan Juden had some spotlights put in, and we turned the front of the building blue. We put blue lights on it in honor of this gentleman. We had a great event that recognized and celebrated his life. The only thing that was upsetting me is I never had a chance to meet this man after hearing so much good about him. And I felt like there was a loss in my life, though I hadn't met him. So I just want to let you know that the city, no matter what department you're in, if you find yourself in a tragic situation on the job like this, you're going to have the same kind of response. But I'd like to turn it over, maybe Ms. Woods from you, and we'll just go down the line, and maybe any respects that you might want to give.
I don't think it matters whether you knew Detective Parquet or not. I think that his passing has affected everyone, residents, city employees, and I think this council. Because whether you knew him or not, somehow we all found, since his passing, we've all found a way to bond with him. He died on my birthday, and my brother's name is Chad. We've all found something in our situations and our stories to equate with him. It broke my heart to see his wife and know that he left behind a 3-year-old daughter. To know that he worked so hard for the city and for the residents, and to lose his life so senselessly, so tragically. To see the pain etched across the faces of our police officers. This whole experience has just been so hard on everyone. My deepest condolences to the Parquet family. We can't even begin to understand the depth of your loss. My deepest condolences to the North Las Vegas Police Department. You lost a brother in arms. And in North Las Vegas, we've been pretty lucky that it's been over 20 some odd years since that's happened before, that we lost a brother in arms while on duty. But our luck ran out this time. And all I can say is how very, very sorry I am for those who lost this wonderful young man, and I don't think North Las Vegas will be the same without him.
Councilman?
Yeah, James Slagle, Raul Elizondo, and now Detective Parquet. I guess those are three names that are going to be recorded in history. Maybe 100 years from now, we won't know who they are, what they did exactly. But I'll tell you what, seeing yesterday, I know that definitely our city and his brotherhood that he belongs to, most definitely, they all came out. And I was really blessed to be there and have a seat. I'm happy to say that actually I've never been to a memorial service quite like that. And I was touched beyond, quite frankly, beyond words. On the other hand, I do really want to commend our entire, especially Chief Noor, Chief Pettis. I'm really happy that we had you both there as the leaders to head this memorial, and I was really impressed with the way the department, with a lot of the other department employees, the Cedar North Vegas employees, how everyone really came by, and that was an event that had a lot of moving parts, and there were a lot of things that could go wrong, but everything went very smooth, and it's a tribute, I think, not to the professionalism and to the love that your department has for one of your own. I'd like to say this. He was a North Las Vegas boy, a graduate of one of our finest. He was a graduate of Cheyenne High School. He was one of ours, and other people can claim him. That was our young man, and that just goes to show you our city can regularly produces fine young men and women like him, and he'll be missed. So at the same time, I also want to welcome Michaela to our family. We lost one family member. We welcome a new one. And thank you very much for joining our family, to choose to be part of our family. And, we'll look forward to positive things, I think. Thank you so much.
Councilwoman?
And I'd just like to commend our police department for the service on yesterday. It was such a celebration of life. Even though the ceremony was a sad occasion, the loss of life is never easy, but the ceremony was just simply amazing. It was just beautiful to see our surviving officers, and the amount of support that was shown to Officer Parquet, especially from our police department, and also that they really respected and listened to Detective Parquet's wife and respected her wishes and honored everything that she wanted for her husband and her daughter. So thank you all very much, and let's hope we don't have this occasion anytime soon.
Mayor, I just want to also say that it was an amazing service, very well done, very moving. I've never attended a service like that. Can't really add much more than to whatever was said over here just prior to myself, except that it's always a shame when, and it really almost doesn't matter what age you are, but to have somebody young like Chad, Mr. Parquet, lose his life in the line of service is terrible for us as a city, but especially for his wife and daughter. And on a different note, welcome to our new city attorney.
Thank you. One thing that's still happening at Chief Noor and Mr. Yard are involved with the city is they're going to do a blood drive in about 2 or 3 weeks. And that will be something that maybe every year we can do in memory or commemoration of this young man. So we'll be getting, I guess, Chief Noor from you or Mike Yarder, how that goes about. And we'd ask the whole community to come out and support, because this life-giving blood that we have could make a difference in many, many lives in his memory. Thank you very much. Council, is there any other items that you would like to discuss concerning your district or events?
Well, I'd just like to thank you, yes, for participating in the Martin Luther King Jr. Parade on Monday. You did. He showed up. He texted me and asked me what should I wear. I said, Mayor, you can wear jeans or something very comfortable. So he shows up in a suit. So you looked awful dapper there on top of our Pearl fire truck. So and Mayor Pro Tem, also thank you for the support as well.
Thank you. I had a great time at that. I don't think Pam needs a publicity agent. I didn't realize she knew so many people. But I will say one thing. I have not been anywhere in a long time that I saw that many smiles and that much patriotism. It was a great event. I would tell anyone to go to that parade. It's a community event, and it was just wonderful. Councilman Churchill, do you have anything in your Councilwoman?
Oh, well, I have to add one thing. I was in the fire truck that was behind Pearl, and these three are on top of Pearl as they're riding down the parade. So I'm in this fire truck with two gentlemen, Chief Kessler, and I want you to know how well they behaved. Because the mayor had his back to us throughout the event. And of course, as we're driving along, there's all these kids on the side who are sitting here, right, doing this to the fire truck going, you know, make the siren and blow the whistle and all this, right? They want to hear the fire truck noise. And the funniest part of it, and my son went hysterical as the guy who was running says, I want to put a little more distance between us and Pearl. I do not want to scare the mayor and have him fall off the back of the truck.
That was...
Because, I mean, that siren comes on pretty loud.
Well, next year we're bringing candy. So
there you go, and throw candy out.
Thank you.
But it was a wonderful event.
Councilman?
Yeah, is Chief Kessler here? Hey, Chief, I think after having ridden on Pearl, a lot of people were really happy once I yelled out to them because they didn't understand the pink truck and all the writing on it, right? When I called out to them that that it's Pearl and it's painted pink, in honor of breast cancer awareness, everyone shook their heads like, "Oh, it makes sense." Chief, we got to get some sort of a banner or something for Pearl. Actually, put Pearl's name on the side and let everyone know that this is our offering to breast cancer awareness. I think that's really important to the community because I think for people who are a little bit far away, they don't quite understand. And I think Pearl is a fantastic ambassador for the city, and so that's fantastic. Also, again, Mayor, I'm happy to say, again, North Las Vegas, our vibrant little city, we're able to do things other cities can't. And again, we're always like a leader in the state. I do believe our new city attorney, I think she's the highest-ranking appointed official representing the Filipino community in the state of Nevada. I'm going to do some background research, but I think again, we always have firsts here. We had the first, African American city attorney, right? The first Asian American immigrant city manager, right? We have one first after another, and I'm throwing some more stuff on Michaela there, right? A burden there for her to wear, and I'm hoping that in the future she does incredible things. Not right now, though. I mean, in the future, and we'll be able to say, yeah, she got her start in government with us in the city of North Las Vegas.
Thank you for that. That is kind of exciting. Appreciate hearing that. Well, we're done with that portion of our agenda, and now we're going to move on to public forum. Now is a time set aside for the second public forum of the agenda. And I've got 3 blue cards here, but if anybody else would like to come up and to attend to the needs of the city through the city council, this would be your time to do it. Mr. Gary Bouchard. Welcome, Mr. Bouchard.
It's good to be here. I did not know she was Filipina. Ihiga nalalako makilalaka. Anyway, I want to say something about our police department, and I really mean this from the bottom of my heart. I've had the opportunity to meet a lot of these guys. They pull me over a lot, but they never ticket me, and I appreciate that. Because a lot of places, they'll ticket me.
I'm going to do you a favor and say you're out of time now.
Am I?
The more you talk, Chief Norsback, they're going,
I want to bring
can
up a
fix
couple-
that problem.
I mean, I want to bring up a couple points that are very serious. And one of these things is drunk drivers and aggressive driving. And we have a lot of problem in this valley with aggressive drivers and drunk drivers. And I know it's a dangerous job, and I think we should do everything we can to make this job as safe as possible. And I put myself in these guys' places. I see a lot of people with these hot cars, no mufflers, they're muscle cars, they're doing most of this aggressive driving, and they have something in common. That is dark window tinting, and you can see through. So when these guys have to pull one of these guys over, they don't know what they're walking into. They don't know if that guy has a gun. They don't know if there's 5 people in that car or what's in it. And we need to look into some ordinances to make this job as safe as possible. One is we need to make sure that window tinting is not so dark that you can't look in. If some of these window tint jobs are so dark, you can't tell if the guy has a seatbelt on. You can't tell if he's smoking grass or drinking. And I've seen it with my own 2 eyes because I had a teenage son who had teenage friends, and they all had their windows tinted so they could drink beer while they were driving, so they could talk on their cell phones while they were driving. It's something we need to look into as far as passing an ordinance to make that job safer and make it their job easier so they can look into the car and see what they're up against. The other thing is I'm getting a lot of complaints from my neighbors. I live on the corner of Simmons and Washburn. And I don't know what's going on over there, but that seems to be a hangout for a lot of these aggressive drivers that are racing late at night. And none of them have mufflers on their cars. And it wakes people up in my neighborhood. And for some reason, I guess they see me on TV. They say, well, you're at the city council meeting. Next time you're down there, tell the city council, why can't we make these people have mufflers? And, because it is disturbing. And I live way on the other side of the street. They live right along Washburn. I can hear it where I live. So, I mean, there's some things we ought to look into. I guess I used up my 3 minutes.
Well, no, I will just respond to one thing. It's state law. An ordinance wouldn't make a difference because there's state law, and the police do take care of that when they see that problem. And so does DMV. When you go to get your license plates renewed, they also are another place where those tinted windows are corrected, or they do not get license plate. But Chief Knorr's back there. Maybe he could bring you up to speed. Maybe in the future you could go to the chief and just talk to him about these issues, though, and mufflers and stuff like that. Okay, I'm just giving you an access to the man who does that policing for us regularly.
Okay, well, one more thing real quick. Nobody ever got back with me about these street cleaners running dry. I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but it is a waste of taxpayers' money. They need to have water in that system where they're driving. Nobody's gotten back with me on that.
Well, I think Jennifer Duty answered that question last meeting, but
Oh,
if you want to
what
talk
was
to
the
her,
answer?
well, she can meet with you real quick.
Oh, yeah,
I
okay.
can't have a dialogue right now, but I
Okay.
can let you know these
No
are the
problem.
people.
Have a good night.
Mrs. Fay Knight, are you still here, Mrs. Knight? Oh, please come forward, Miss Knight.
Hi. Every time I look at you, you remind me of Mr. C. Strand.
Thank you.
But he was a beautiful man, yes.
Are we taking minutes of this meeting?
I live at 3319 Coleman Street in North Las Vegas, which since 1972, I've been there. I was at a meeting some time ago, and it was a person that came in one of the business there on Coleman and Cheyenne, right there on the corner, a storage place. I don't know whether you all remember that or not, but they have made a road, a street, you come over the sidewalk. They put gravel down so they can make a gate and come out of on the sidewalk and go on Coleman. Maybe you all haven't noticed that.
Mr. Mark Jordan, Director Jordan, would you get with her? maybe, he's in charge of compliance. He'll be the gentleman who'll, after the meeting, come see you.
Okay. And then they have a fence around it, but it's like a cloth fence, and someone keep on putting a big hole in it. Every time you look around, and then they repair it, then someone come and do it again. So if they can do some other fence, maybe it won't cause, and there's a lot of trash. I mean, it's just papers all up and down that side. I don't know whether it's coming from their business or someplace else, but we have never had that much trash until they moved there.
I'm just assuming that when the wind blows, all that trash and debris gets caught under the fence of the gate area. I'm hoping that's all it is.
Okay.
Not that somebody's deliberately putting trash there.
Okay, well, the street cleaner doesn't come down Coleman anymore. Why is that? Because someone has broken a lot of glass there, right off of Cheyenne and Coleman. Soon as you turn right on Coleman, there's a lot of glass there.
Thank you. It duly noted.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Knight.
Thank you so much.
And our final, Mr. Steve Shove. Is there anybody else that would like to see the council tonight on anything? Seeing not, this will be our last person.
Good evening, everybody. Steve Shove, 5622 Midnight Breeze Street. I want to thank the city. I guess, I work for ACMS as a school crossing guard, and I guess they are hiring crossing guards now to fill up some of the corners that I had concerns about. So I want to thank you and tell you my appreciation for protecting the younger citizens of North Las Vegas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shove. Seeing no one else want to address the city council, this meeting is adjourned.